Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. If you just joined us, this is TMI. You can call it This Morning on ITV. And on this segment, we'll take a look at the forthcoming election and the prospect for political office holders to contest for that same particular office, the implication. Some are saying, the third time or the fourth term or the fifth term is a charm. If you are in the Senate, if you're in the House of Representatives, but others are saying, are you the only one there? What about others? You've been there before. What's new that you can bring to the table? Let's give others a chance. Because we go towards Imo State, you get to hear Ekperimadu. Yes, he's been in the Senate for quite a long time. He said he wants to vie for the governorship. That's the one making the rounds right now, so that someone else can go in for the senatorial seat, so to speak. If you go to Delta State, the governor call-wise like saying, look, I'm going back again to the Senate after this, and if there is so much controversies, these are just rumors making the round. If you come down to Wendo State, you're going to see prominent personalities, prominent names that said, look, we want to give you the shot for the fourth term, the third term, the second term, because if you get to that place, become ranking officers, it is going to all go well for our senatorial district and, of course, to the state. Others are saying, look, you've been there for quite a long time. I don't think there's anything new you can offer. Is it your birthright? But the question being asked by so many persons, but it's all about governance. Don't forget Joe Biden. For a long time, he was in the Senate before he became the president. Barack Obama also was in the Senate for a long time before he became the president. Well, let's see if we can juxtapose these two to really make sense out of all this. With me here in the studio is Honorable Omeza Oguma. Yeah, welcome to TMI. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you.
He is a political analyst, political affairs commentator, and he's from Akoko Edo constituency, right?
Yeah.
That region. And of course, I have a legal practitioner in the middle, Gabriel Ehigato. Gabriel, welcome to TMI, Sunday's edition. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
So very close to me is Comrade Sonny Ifeje. Yeah, another political juggernaut, political analyst. Thank you so much for coming from the Oma constituency, right?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
morning,
so much
Nigeria.
for coming. All right. I want to start off with you, Oguma. Politics is like a game of number.
Yeah, of course.
A game of you representing your people. And there is this rule that no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, as long as you are both 18 and you have the required qualification, you have the power, you have the right to shoot your shot at any position, even the presidency. But some are saying it's good for everyone in a particular country, particular state, local government, senatorial district, or constituency to have a fair spread of this. If you are here today, someone else should be there tomorrow. That is politics. Others are saying, for our own advantage to supersede others, we need to be there for quite a while. Now, what can you make out of this scenario where a political office holder still want to vie for that same position come 2023, whether it's a House of Rep member, a senator, House of Assembly, you just name it. What do you feel about it?
Well, talking about rights, rights of the individual are constitutional to vote, to be voted for, and to vote. But when it comes to representation, especially as a legislator, you begin to realize that legislative business gets more fruitful, more result-oriented when there are continuity in that representation. Unlike the executive, where you have a specific constitutional duration of 8 years maximum, and the executive gets out of there. Most times, you and I know projects that are being executed by some of these executives end up being abandoned when the next chief executive comes in. And such abandoned projects does not help in entrenching our democracy. Now, in the legislature, we have no constitutional limits, unlike what we have in the executive. So a tenure can run and be rerun if the incumbent is doing obviously well. And in the advanced democracies where we copy from, the United States, Great Britain, we have several instances where legislators, senators, congressmen have spent over 30 years in their assembly. And so if we believe, while you were doing your intro, you talked about Joe Biden. He was in the Senate for quite a very long time. And so today is the president. Now, the continuity in legislation helps to perfect some of these expectations of our people. We are talking about bills on how to bring up educational institutions, how to upgrade educational institutions, how to ensure that roads are being properly constructed and not abandoned. And where there are proper legislatures and continuity to perfect such bills, it helps in these same democratic dividends that our people are expecting. Okay. But when there are breakage, a new man comes in, the earlier bill that was pushed to an extent by the incumbent gets out of the way again, the new legislator is bringing a new bill, and so there becomes a lot of disconnect. So for me, if continuity, especially in legislature, is encouraged, especially for a performer, I think it brings better dividends for our people.
Okay.
That is how I see it from a very practical perspective. Yeah, even right back in my constituency, specifically where we come from in Edo North, we have performers in the legislature across the Federal House of Representatives, even in the Senate in Edo North. We have performers who, for us, they are doing well and they need to continue.
I'll come back to you on that. Gabriel, as a legal practitioner and, of course, as a citizen of Edo State that is above 18, that do have the right to vote and to be voted for, what do you feel about this conception of a political office holder having been there for quite a while, maybe first term, second term, third term, wanting to go for a fourth term? I mean, what do you feel about it?
Well, in as much as I am strongly against political office holders going more than 2 terms as prescribed by the Constitution in terms of the executive, and my colleague said, the basic issue is what effect, positive effect, have you had on your people? We have a series of politicians vying for position. People have been in the Senate, for example, for over 15. Yesterday in Enugu, let me give you a critical example. There was serious chaos. A PDP member wanted to go for 5th term in the assembly. And while they were holding meeting, so no government, just the way they were always called them.
No government.
Yeah, no government, sir. In the East, they are called no government. It's only the North, they are called bandits. Invaded the meeting, and people were severally injured. People were severally wounded, just because he wanted to go for a 5th term. Now, the issue is this. I don't have a problem with you going for the 5th term. What is the level of effect, positive effect you have had in the life of the people, in the life of your constituents? We have a series on that. For example, Ike Korimadu have been in the Senate for more than 4 times. What is the effect they have had on the people? David Mark was there for several years. What is the effect they have had on the people? Patrick Osakwe, just manager. All of these were people with the National Assembly. What is the level of positive effect they have on their people? So to a very large extent, I see it as self-centeredness. I see it as selfishness. Politicians just take hold of political positions as the only means of their livelihood. Meanwhile, the effect of what they ought to be doing, heading those positions, are not be felt in the life of our people. Come down to Edo State here. Somebody said they are going for 3rd term. I will be there the first time, the second time. Now they are not clamoring, sir. And some are even singing war song, beating the war drum that we will get here, either by who or by who. Whichever ways. When you put the political antecedent, their level of social development they have on their people, and put it on the basket and weigh it doesn't hold waters. So to me, I see that greediness, I see that self-aggrandizement, and I strongly condemn such an act. Even as much as, let's even assume you have done so well for your people, can't you give chance for other person to be there? Is it your father heritage property? Give chance for other person, other young people who have an idea on our governance.
I will come back to you because I have a series of questions to really throw at you because of your own chain of thought. Okay, Comrade Sonny, you have any different opinion of view from Gabriel's opinion?
Well, thank you very much. I think as a lawyer, he's talking from his own point of view, his own understanding.
Yeah.
We are talking of people who actually want to serve, people who have the interests of the masses. Where I come from, the centrality is where I come from. I think we believe that the person there has a bee that is already pursuing, and that bee is for the good of the constituency, is for the good of the central district. And if I listen to the legal luminary very well, he said some people go there for their own selfish interests. Yes, that is some person. But the area where I come from, I believe that the man has done well. And if you listen to the first speaker, he said when they have opportunity to go back there and represent their people again, there is evidence that if you are not a principal officer in the first time, maybe by the grace of God, even the second time you're not was a principal officer as well, but the third time you might be a principal officer, and there's an opportunity for you to drive home what the people actually what require. So based on that, if I will listen to the legal luminary very well, I think from his point of view, it's different from where I come from, because we believe the person that is presenting us is doing well, and he has to go back to finish what he has started.
All right. I will come back to you. You just sort of, because many things people are just speaking about is generating more questions in my mind. Honorable Oguma.
Yeah.
Let's take it from what Gabriel said. He said, even if the person, so to speak, he or she done well, according to records, and of course, because these courts across all senatorial districts in Lagos State, the north, south, even the central, you get to hear, I really want to go back there to finish what I started. You have the first tenor, second tenor, and now you say you want to go for a third or fourth term. The first two tenor, what do you think made that person, whoever the person is, not to accomplish his vision and goals for his constituency or senatorial district?
Well, for where the barrister took his point from, I would equally want to also remind him that as a lawyer, you should be fair to the constitutional limits of these representatives. If you are fair enough from that perspective, you will not equally deprive them of their own rights. It is their own constitutional rights to keep asking for. It is not about self-centeredness. It is a constitutional right. So I want to push that aside, the idea of self-centeredness. It is about their constitutional rights. You agree as a lawyer that these people have rights to return because the Constitution does not create a limit for them, except if they are executives. So now as legislators, the basis for going back, I can only speak for my axis, the Edo North, where I come from. If you castigate Ikwere Madu, right here, you castigate James Manager from Delta and all that, I may not be in position to speak for them.
What is that he did not castigate them. He just gave an example of what they are doing and what they want to go back to do.
If he undermines their re-elections and returns, we may not be in better position to defend them. But for my own constituency in Edo North, I can vividly say that the incumbent has done so much that up to the dialysis center, first of its kind in our senatorial district. You know, going by the rate of kidney issues and challenges, he brought in this dialysis center where instead of our persons from Edo North to be going all the way to Benin, to Lagos for dialysis, he brought it in to Auchi. That is innovative. We have on his own record, we have several kilometers of roads. He is actually not an executive, but we have several kilometers of roads across Auchi to Akoko Edo. Ibilo, in Akoko Edo, you have Ibilo, kilometers of roads in Ibilo. So a lot of other things. So now coming to his legislative business, regarding his own legislative business as a legislator, for somebody who has raised bills for the upgrade of the Auchi Polytechnic to be a degree awarding institution, that bill has already seen the light of the day. It is before the presidency for assent. So these are legislative impacts from the incumbent. Now, there are schools of federal education, Osugbenu, that is equally on the burner. That bill is there. You equally have a bill for School of Aquatic and Fisheries. Those bills are still already at second reading and at final readings. So these are bills that if a new man comes in, of course, he may come up with a different perspective of legislation, and these bills that have gone far ends up being quashed.
All right. Well, he's talking about performance right now. If you go to the north, south, central, some of these persons right now that are occupying these offices, we're like, talking about they've done so well. Talk about bills, talk about projects. And Gabriel, do you think that anyone can just come up and say, look, this is like a newbie? Do you think it's going to squatter all these things that have been beneficial or been of great benefit to the people?
I think we need to remove emotions.
Yes.
From our political dealings. And then every reasonable legislator will not destroy a kind of a level performance that will be done by a former legislator. When a bill is good or when a law is good for the interest of the people, it will be passed. When a bill is good, it will be passed into law. Nobody will destroy it. Nobody will destroy it. We have seen such bills in the National Assembly that were brought in by a former legislator. And when it leaves another legislator, and they continue with it. This is not the first time we have it. And so we should remove the emotions of being scared that, when a bill is coming, that we prospect the people. When somebody else take over, the bill can be quashed. It can happen in that manner. It may not also happen in that manner. It is both sides. But be that as it may, what is the level of performance that these people have had? Because sometimes it's amazing, sir, when we count the level of performance by these legislators to wheelbarrow sharing. Election is closed and you see legislators and they're sharing wheelbarrow as a part of constituency projects. Putting balls in places that don't even find it difficult to have water. As said, it's part of constituency project. Where are the human capacity? Where are those who have built? Where are the market women that you have built? Where are those with small-scale enterprises that you have built? How have you helped these people effectively? Because one of the problems we have in our society today is that people lack human enablement, empowerment, and capacity. That's one of the major problems we have. There are a lot of artisans today who knows their work very well, but they don't have the instrument to manage their work, to prospect their work, to further their being. They don't have it. And you are telling me that you have done so much by sharing wheelbarrow, by putting balls everywhere, and you said that you have done well. It's just like giving a peanut out of the bond of the goodies we have. So our legislators, especially our legislators, need to, to mash up, need to start up their game, and they need to know that Nigeria are becoming more enlightened. They need to know that the reason, or one of the most favorable points that will make you go back to a national assembly is that you must have done well. Not you're doing well, you must have done very, very well. But in situations where that do not happen, then you step aside for people better to come inside.
All right, well, you've heard Gabriel Ehigato, a legal practitioner. He talked about meeting the people's demand, meeting the people's need. And of course, he also raised the point that if a bill is good, whether you are there or not, the bill will surely see the light of day, no matter whose ox is God. Take it up from there.
Thank you. I think if I may say you are not from Edo North, or you might be from Edo North, but for those of us who are there, you see, empowerment, like you said, human capacity development. In Edo North, as I speak with you, there are 3 skill acquisition centers for technical training where you can upgrade yourself in technicality which are there. Today, some of the technical centers, I think, are accommodating up to about 60, 112, like that, for training of undergraduate, even graduate, who feel they want to improve on what they have acquired.
And do you mean that someone else cannot do this?
Excuse me, he's talking about how the person there has performed.
Yes, of course,
that
of course.
Go back.
For now, nobody's like doubting performance right now. Doesn't mean that someone else cannot do the same.
Yes.
Even that's an opportunity.
It's probably possible that someone else might do, but for me, the one that is performing who also have the interest of the masses from what he has done so far, and coupled with the bill that is on the table, we believe such person, like we know, we are Nigerians, we know what happened when it comes to what? Legislative issue. For instance, the incumbent in my place, this particular time is not a principal officer because of the geopolitical sharing when it comes to what? Issue of offices. They will tell you they are zoning this, they are zoning this, they are zoning that. But we know that with what is on ground today, zoning to this side, zoning to the other side, that we in the Edo North stand a better chance if the incumbent go back to represent us.
Okay, all right.
And that is why we are saying he has to go.
Okay, hold on now. Well, right now, like what I told you guys before, I wouldn't want to jump into name calling because you're probably following that. I want you to remain that way. But he made a statement. He said, look, we have others also that can do same, even better. And of course, the place of zoning, to have this even spread, you can say Edo North, maybe they have more than 3 local governments. Edo South, more than 2 local governments. Edo Central, more than 1 local government, just giving an example.
Yeah.
Does it mean that zoning should not be followed in these senatorial districts? Over to you.
Of course, zoning still takes its place. But under democracy, zoning most times in our political arrangement in this country is a family affair.
Family affair, how?
That within the National Assembly today,
Yes.
you have ranking senators. Most times it begins to get to the issue of the party, the ruling party in the National Assembly. We don't just go to the National Assembly and say the Senate President will go to anybody. it still falls back to which party is in charge of the National Assembly, which party is the ruling party. So if it goes this way, coming to the ruling party, and you are not there as a senator or a ranking senator, the opportunity, the privilege of it being brought to your end becomes difficult. So why I say family affair, it falls back to the party. As long as that arrangement falls back to the party, that zoning becomes a family affair. Because it ends up now within the party, we'll now begin to look at, okay, how many senators do we have from the South constituent, from the South-South? Okay, we have 2 senators of our party, and we are ruling at the national. Okay, we have 5 senators from our zone. Okay, how do we now go about? So that does not longer transpire within the corridors of the National Assembly. That zoning now goes into a family affair within the party. And whoever the party brings up from that zone ends up getting what has been allocated in the National Assembly.
But at least there'll be an even spread.
So for me, zoning is not completely ruled out if an incumbent is going back. What only comes up is that when we try to be a little bit of the bigger picture, because we say democracy, most times democracy, we all agree it is for the general good. It is not for only my good. If I know that this man going back will bring a bigger deal for all of us, why will I say because of zoning, because it must come to me, let us truncate the probability of a bigger deal because I want to be there? So if I know that this man returning, it may give us a better chance of having a Senate president from my zone. Why will I not be large-hearted enough to say, okay, let's support him to go back, he may get a bigger deal, compared to if I say I must insist on zoning and take it and go there and be warming the bench. Am I helping the generality?
Good question. Good question. Now, he gave a point about which zoning is important, but in this case, I'll take a look at the general good, or let's say for the betterment of the particular senatorial district. All right, we have the Edo South, Edo Central, Edo North. They've been talking about these particular, how will I put it now, personalities retaining their offices, going for a 3rd term or a 4th term or a 5th term, depending on the duration of their tenure. But the aspect of zoning, that this would jettison, underline now that aspect of zoning for one particular person to be coming from a particular region. Gabriel.
Well, zoning is a family affair. Let me agree with him on that area. But be that as it may, we cannot, because of that, eradicate a certain side of the people. It's like you are a president. It's like you are trying to let them know that there is nothing good can come out from that local government or constituent. Let's share it over. We calculate people performance because there are other persons who came from different zones that make up the government. So if in Edo North, for example, somebody is coming from Akoko Edo and then goes to the National Assembly, another person comes from Isako, he goes there, another person came from Monwa, he goes there, we can accelerate their performance. But for a particular person who began to be in the position simply because you feel the person will be performing, therefore it should continue just to go there, that is what we are against. Because it doesn't create fairness. In that court to equity, more come with clearance. In that seek justice, more do justice. I don't know if you are getting me. So it doesn't tell well on the people. What happened to others? How will they feel? Are they not part of the constituency? Are they not part of the senatorial district? So are you saying because your person is performing very well, the other people should resist for very for some position? If you are saying that, in other words, you are denying them of their right to contest. Let people go to the field. Let them throw their weight. Let's test their waters. Let them throw their weight and see how far they can go. But doing it a family affair that said, no, this person will be there. he has done first term, he has done second term, he has done very well, then the third term he should go there. It's not his personal property. It doesn't even happen like that in every other part of the world. I think another reason is this, because we do not have a system of training leaders. That is why we think that when a person goes to a position and performs very well, then he should inherit the position. If we have a system of training leaders, those are US and other countries, where leaders are being trained, where leaders are passed through processes to attain a political position. We'll not be talking about this. There are many fishes in the water, and there are a lot of good ones. These people have done well, good and fine. I'm not arguing about that.
So
whatever basis you need to assess their
thing.
performance. I'm not against it, my brother. But what I'm against is the continually going there. Because we are seeing this country, sir, when people do well attain a political position, be there first, 10, second, 10, third, fourth, and fifth, they began to do nothing. They began to gather resources for themselves. We are seeing a couple of times. We want to mention it, we can give example.
No, we don't want to mention it here. There's a reason for that. This one put my foot on the ground.
Name measuring.
Yes.
So there's a non-name measuring.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. So the bottom line, sir,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, sir,
Yeah.
you have said that those people have done well. There's no problem. We also have those that have not done well.
Yeah.
But let other people come in. Let's have a new, fresh idea carriers. Let's have a new persons who know, who think that they can continue with the good governance those other persons, have created. So let's
All
continue
right,
from
so
this.
over to you now, Sonny. Do you have a contrary view to his opinion?
Barrister, I think I listened to you carefully. Sorry if I say maybe you are trying to contradict yourself, because you were the one that said Joe Biden, who is the president
Of America.
of America, was in the Senate for a very long time because of the performance, because of what he was doing for his people. Now, if the same is now saying that if it is father's inheritance, democracy, like you know, is still very what? For me, in Nigeria, is still very fragile. Whether we have spent 22 years, I see it as what? Still baby nursing. So if we must copy those whom we actually believe are prime democracy over the years, then I think the issue of 2-term, 3rd term, 4th term shouldn't arise from you as a legal luminary. Then talking about issue of zoning, I am from Onwa. He is from Akoko Edo. Like we said, we are not looking at our own benefits as a local government per se.
And the senator is from Esako.
We are talking of the benefit of Edo North generality. Somebody has gone there for the first term, second term. Yes, he's performing. Now, ordinarily, the Onwa ought to be the next person to ascend that seat. But we are looking at, if another person goes there, is going there as a first timer. Now, what is actually going to what? Accrue to us.
Hold on. Sorry for interjecting. From your own point of view, people from your own extracts may feel that you're a traitor because you're from that place. Saying that they shouldn't go. Is that what you're saying right now?
No, I am speaking.
Don't they have good heads that will be like, okay, now this is from Onwa, let's push ahead?
I am going there.
Yes.
We have met and we look at it in the senatorial district, coupled with what is happening in the national, that there is possibility of this zoning arrangement from the national favoring us in the south and Edo North in particular. Like he did mention, today we have just 2 senators in the south. And we are aware that these 2 senators, one of them is of a big position holder because of he has spent quite time in the Senate. And in our own case, we have 2 tenors. For the possibility that is going back there, then, and that other senator, information reaching us, is likely to run for a bigger position
I wouldn't want us to go by speculation right now. There are rules on the ground. If you flaunt the rules, you know the consequence.
So we are looking at what the bigger deal.
Okay,
the
bigger deal.
share.
All right.
That will come to Edo.
Sir, let me say this. Sorry, sir.
Hold on. Gabriel, hold on. He has the floor. He has the
that
floor.
will come to us in a donut.
Yes.
That is why the Onwa and the Akoko Edo are looking at the bigger picture, not the micro aspect of it.
Okay.
That is where we stand.
The bigger picture. Okay. Gabriel, you just hold on to your thoughts, okay? You have enough time to express yourself because, Oguma, you're talking about the bigger picture. This same situation that is in Edo North is prevalent also in Edo South, even in Edo Central.
Yeah.
They said the third time is a charm. Others are saying, look, you're not the only one there. We too have great minds, we have great ideas. We can do what you have done even better. But do you think that all these talks right now is all hinged on emotion, not on performance? Because others can do the same thing.
Well, like I said earlier,
Yes.
I can, making reference to what Barrister Gabriel was referring to at other states.
Yes.
And I try to say, well, we cannot speak for those states, those persons in those states. But now that you are bringing it down to Edo South, Edo Central, I think it is still within our purview to speak. Though it may interest you that our parties are not there, represented presently in those districts. But I think what they are trying to do over there in Edo South and Edo Central is to be proactive and position themselves properly ahead of whatever is likely to transpire at the national politics. Yes, the party I belong to today, I may be hoping that we will retain power. But what if by God's design, by God's design, the opposition party takes over in the national in 2023, then the Edo South and Edo Central that you think are just trying to repeat their incumbents, they may equally be trying to be proactive ahead of what may likely crop up at the national. So if by God's providence such things happen, though we are not working towards that, God knows how we are doing tooth and nail to ensure that our government continues in 2023. But if, as a product of destiny, if it goes the other way around, then Edo South and Edo Central will have positioned themselves down properly to have ranking senators.
All right.
And ranking federal lawmakers.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Over to you now. You've been itching to say something because our time is almost up.
Yes,
Over 40 minutes. We talk over 40 minutes. Yes.
It's as much as my friends are very adamant on performance.
And they gave reasons for that. Talking about ranking officer right now. That seems to be what is happening.
Exactly.
The more you are there, the more you're ranked.
The more you're
better for your
ranked,
people.
the more likely you will get the most top positions.
Yes, and for your people to benefit.
It has happened that way, and that is done because of the only excuse why that is done is that you have been there for long. So therefore, you should be the head of it. But it doesn't work that way. To me, I don't see as fairness. For a person, the first timer in an assembly doesn't mean that he doesn't know what to do. Doesn't mean that he cannot be taught. Doesn't mean that he cannot learn. I do not agree to that. The issue of zoning cannot be totally be thrown off. I am struggling against you training not zoning. People came from other zones. People have political idea. Politics is about, governance is about the people. It is togetherness. So when one side of the constituent is not being, attaining power over and over again, what happened to others? I give you a fair example, even if I didn't want to say it. We have Ikpobaha and Ego, federal constituency. I put it together one day, and I found out that Ego local government have only produced just one person. For the past 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, just one person in the House of Rep. It has been Ikpobaha that has been going there. So now, is it fair enough? So I think that now you should go back to Ego. I don't even get the to balance the zoning you are talking about, to balance the family you are talking about.
All right,
this is why there is peace in family. Is it not because people, there's fairness, there's justice, there's equity?
Thank you so
We
much.
should equally be
Gabriel.
very good students of democracy.
Yeah.
Because if we are learning from the advanced democracies, we should be good students of democracy
Thank
also.
Thank you.
And repeat what they are doing over there.
Well, Sonny,
we'll go to the
Sonny,
institutional
you're going to have the last line on this discussion because we have other analysts ready to come share their thoughts and opinion on this. We are going across all senatorial districts this morning. Go ahead.
Thank you. I want to appreciate you. Finally, for me, for where I come from, I believe that the leaders of my people there has actually deemed it very well to see that, yes, what are we going to achieve if we allow the incumbents to go? And they find it, yes, we have a lot to achieve, because today the person who is there at the helm of affairs in the Senate is representing his constituency for the 5th time, and that has bring that dividend of democracy to his people, magnitude.
That's the Senate president.
And that is what we believe, and that is why the Onwas and the Akoko-Edo Alliance are saying, let the incumbent.
Thank you.
And
Thank
for the
you.
records,
Thank
none
you.
of those from these two constituencies are coming out for the position.
Our time is up. Our time is up. Our time is up. We can go on and on. Well, viewers, if you're in those states, you get to understand the dynamics of politics, because right now it's all about Edo North, Edo South, Edo Central. They are from Edo North. They're talking about their views and opinion. One is saying, let's share this thing zoning. One is saying, no, let's focus on performance and to gain more ground in the Senate, even in the House of Representatives. What do you feel about that? Joe Biden, Barack Obama, you just name it. All these personalities stayed for a long time in the Senate. But is Nigeria different? Let's get to hear from other analysts to hear their thoughts and views on this particular opinion. Honorable Oguma, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And of course, Barrister Gabriel, thank you so much for your opinion.
You so much.
And Comrade Sonny, appreciate your opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the opinions, yes, it has nothing to do with ITV. Let's get to hear from others if they share the same views and opinion, because even in Edo Central, Edo South, they are saying, look, we've been there first, let's take go. Let's get that ranking position. I remember one jingle way back, Mr. Only Me. That was a jingle. You know what that jingle led to. But take a look at the Senate president. Before he became the Senate president, he was a ranking officer. So you have to juxtapose both to see how it's going to benefit us in the state. Don't go away. We'll be right back.